Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another week, officially the 20th week of the Box Office Buds. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by Alex Alche, Alex Kellerman, and the three of us are in a fantasy box office league. We've drafted 5 movies apiece. Whoever makes the most money in the worldwide box office wins said league. I am the defending champion of 2024. And boys, after this past weekend, yours truly is just, I think, 30 million away from the lead for this year. It is a fantastic start to the 2025 season. We have a lot of movies to talk about, a few big ones coming out, and a big show. Welcome back, boys. The last virtual podcast of the summer. You excited?
I am, so clearly by my throat clearing. I can't wait to be done with this virtual recording. I love you both from afar, but it's much easier from a close, you know what I mean?
In person is so much better.
From a close. I like that, from a close. Alche, big weekend for you. We have one of your big movies coming out, F1. We'll be talking about that on tomorrow's episode. Our producer, the commissioner of this league, it's a big week for him as well because our last episode of the week, we'll be discussing Megan 2.0, his movie on his team. He believes
he's got big hopes
about
for that
it.
one.
He's got big hopes, high hopes. We will talk about those hopes in 2 episodes, plus a wonderful guest for that show. But today, it's a little bit of review on the 2 big movies that came out this past weekend. Between the 3 of us, we have seen both of them. Spoiler-free reviews coming for both of these movies. But first, let's check with how they did. 28 years later, won the weekend compared to the 2 of them. But still, not that much money. 30 million domestically, 60 million worldwide. We all took the over. We were all incorrect. Elio, the OG Pixar movie, 21 million domestically, 35 million worldwide. Do those numbers surprise either of you?
It's just not good. It's just not good. Like it's disappointing for a Pixar movie. I imagine Disney and Pixar are going to be very reticent to put out these like thoughtful, deep, sort of offbeat niche films because this one, we'll do a spoiler-free review in a minute. I really enjoyed it, but like it is not a movie for the masses. It is a deep, thoughtful, like it's not as funny as you need it to be for a Pixar movie. Again, we'll get into it in a minute. But there's just like I saw The Good Dinosaur and it felt like that to me. It was slow. It was deep and thoughtful. It was like a drama. Yeah. So that's surprising to me in content and execution. And then 28 Days I really thought was going to explode. I think our numbers were slightly off in terms of what we expected based on the pre-sales. But still, I really believe that like if Final Destination Bloodlines, like our guest Paul was alluding to, did what it did, I assume that this was also going to do what we thought it was going to do. But I think our fandom exceeds the masses fandom.
Yeah, and I will say it's also a little bit of a sign of what's to come with this summer movie slate eating each other up. So I'm a little bit hesitant to crown any of these upcoming summer movies when we're doing our over-under. Spoiler.
Yeah, it's going to be a real dogfight.
It really is. Kellerman, are you surprised by either of these numbers, 28 years or Elio?
You know, I'm not too surprised by 28 years not making our estimations. It could have gone either way for me. So I'm not that surprised. I knew it could either be like an explosive hit or some like, you know, a good movie that's not really that appealing to everybody. And Elio is the surprise for me. I thought that Elio...
It's the lowest Pixar opening ever.
Yeah. That really surprises me. I mean, not that
my hot take is
that made me think what my hot take is spectacular, but what?
My hot take is you can't have a faceless alien. You can't have a faceless main character and expect the folks to flock. Like Lilo is Elio, right? Stitch is a character named Glorden without eyes.
No eyes.
Like, you're not going to love a guy without eyes. That's the hot
going to
take.
be tough. That's going to be tough without eyes.
You hear that, Pixar? You need eyes. That's what our one-note review for you.
Hire me.
That's
need eyes.
Obvious.
When I interview for Pixar years from now, I'm going to say, guys, no eyes, no me.
Yeah. Well, let's jump right into that, Alche. You are the one of us that saw Elio. You are the family man. 84 Rotten Tomatoes on the critical reviews, a 91 on the audience review via Rotten Tomatoes. So people seem to enjoy this movie. Did you?
I really enjoyed it. It's a good, thoughtful, deep movie. Spoiler free, there is, per usual with every kid experience, there is a tragedy that leads this kid to be who he is. And he's a goofy, sort of loner who is obsessed with space and aliens, and that's really cool. And Asher was really into that. My son, who's 3.5, he thought it was really cool that he was always looking up at the stars. We were sort of talking through the movie because it's definitely not for a 3.5. Like this is a 5, 6 and up for sure. But
really?
Is
it just because it's so complex?
I mean, it's just a little bit more complex than a 3.5-year-old can sort of comprehend, like be universes and aliens and things of that nature. But he he really enjoyed all that stuff. He wasn't scared at all, which is always
Great.
like a question with those things. But it needed more comedy. It's not as funny as I hope. The fun and games is not rampant throughout. Elio's a cute character, but he's not a very funny character. Glorden, who's sort of the main sidekick, who's like, the new best friend, who's the equally the fish out of water in space, is cute and funny, but again, no eyes. Must have eyes going forward. If you have an alien, you must have eyes. Thank you, Pixar. But it's good. I think the message is very clear. The message is very sweet.
The message is you must have eyes.
The message is you must have eyes, but also
which
the message
is a hilarious
is
message because doesn't he have an eye patch, Elio?
Elio has an eye patch, but he does have an eye underneath it. He just enjoys wearing an eye patch.
So out of two characters, where we have one working eye,
one eye.
We have one working eye. Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Okay.
I agree. But you'd think like the cast of characters in space, there's like a conglomeration of the smartest aliens in the universe. You'd think that there would be a ton of comedy to mine with these funky characters. Really not funny at all, which really shocked me.
Oh, no.
But it's imaginative, it's smart, it's deep, it's emotional. Asher was worried about Elio throughout, was worried about Glorden throughout. But yeah, I think ultimately the message is beautiful and sincere. But I really do believe like these Lucas, these Elios, these characters that are sort of just like everyday humans.
Are they building like an Avengers team?
You'd think, right? Of all names of people who are Italian but not Italian, Elio is
4-letter names only.
It's a smart play, but for some reason these movies don't hit as hard with the mass audience. But for me, this one was very clear that like no character was distinct to like draw the kids in, to build merchandise from, to really like hone in on
merchandise
kids being obsessed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can I ask you one question to sort of give the final capper on this? If you have, regardless of age, if there's a family out there listening right now, do you recommend they go see this in the theaters, or do you recommend they wait till it comes to a Disney Plus?
If you have a kid over the age of 6 who is an emotional child who like connects well, then yes, take him to see Elio, or her to see Elio, or them to see Elio. But if if they're a little bit all over the place, you're going to be walking out of the theater. It's slow. Great. It's much more of a drama.
Speaking
I give it like 7 Glordens. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
But
okay. That's a pretty high score.
That's a high
on
Glorden.
the Glorden
That's a
meter.
high Glorden.
But compared to Toy Story, which has like 9.5 Woodies, like it's not in the same plane.
Speaking
Toy
of
Story's a
all over
perfect
the
10,
place,
let's be honest.
Kellerman and I saw 28 Years Later this weekend in the movie theaters. We saw it separately, so I'm interested to hear Kellerman's take. Purposefully have not discussed what we thought about the movie with each other, because I really wanted all of these, all of my friends, TJ, Alche, to have a fresh eye on this. Alche, I'm sorry, we're going to not spoil it, but definitely talk about our thoughts about this movie. So let's dive into a spoiler-free review of 28 Years Later. Again, if you caught our preview of this movie, you know that I hold 28 Days in undeniably high esteem. Kellerman
Some
also
might
really
say too
enjoys. Kellerman also really enjoys both 28 Days and 28 Weeks. This is a world that we really wanted to dive back into. I will say that this was one of the weirdest movies I have ever seen. It is tonally all over the place. And 28 Days Later was similar, where there were moments even in the grocery store where we're suddenly in a happy-go-lucky music video and you really felt those familial moments, those comedic moments. 28 Years does very similar things. Some of it is very thriller-esque. Some of it is very quiet and subdued and horror-filled. Some of it is very slapstick comedy. And there are things that really come out of left field. There's some nature documentary portions of this film. It is really, really interesting, and I applaud them for taking the swings that they did. I also will undeniably applaud them for jumping right into the world and doing the same thing that made 28 Days Later great, where they didn't need to spoon-feed you information, but rather left you breadcrumbs for you to figure it out along the way. This was a very fun, you're immediately in the moment, loving the story you're going on. The places it goes, I really enjoyed it. I truly understand if people don't enjoy it at all, because it is a wild, wild ride. And the last thing I'll say, while I was watching the movie, particularly near the ending, I thought to myself, I wish we lived in a world where parody movies still existed, like the scary movies of the world that take 7 popular movies and make fun of them all at once, because there are moments in this film that a parody movie would take to the moon. Again, I really enjoyed it, but I understand if you did not. Kellerman.
Well, Scary Movie 7 is coming out
It's
soon.
coming out.
So
6, I think.
Kellerman, question for you, because 89% on the tomato meter, 65% on the audience score. Where do you fall on this? Tony, where do you fall as well? But Kellerman, to you first.
I think it was a spectacularly well-made film. I was impressed on multiple levels just with the filmmaking of it, just with how well it matched visually with the previous two, despite being so much more recent. And the time passed, and I liked the new things that were introduced. I had worried, because I saw just a couple of, I didn't read any reviews, but I saw a couple headlines that made me worried that it would have too much packed into it. But honestly, I kind of felt like it had, see, where Tony feels like it was all over the place tonally, tones, and there was almost, and I even thought that there were great transitions between the 3 chapters, if you will. I don't know that I was always prepared for the new tone once we got there. I was a little, I felt the confusion of it, but also afterwards, thinking back on it, I realized that it was pretty compartmentalized with those tones. It wasn't like, it wasn't confused. I was confused.
Interesting. So you sided more with the critics, you would say?
Yeah. And I'll say this, the reason that I think it may not be what broader audiences wanted is because there's actually so little of the zombie element in it. The focus is so much more on the main
zombies.
Character. Correct. The rage, although they are referred to specifically as zombies in this movie. Which was a first for the series, and one that I didn't quite agree with. But it was also within the story even, it was like, oh, the people on the island call them different things than everybody else and things like that. So,
sure.
It was acceptable.
I was
Tony,
very happy with it.
So you fall more with the critics as well.
Definitely would not say an 89% like the critics do. I would definitely be in the 75 to 80 range. Like, again, I think
that sounds about right. I think we agree there.
There's some interesting moments in the movie, to say the least. And again, Kellerman might it's not that I disagree with the tonal switches. It's that going from like a movie like The Revenant and then Highway to a Power Rangers TV show fight sequence, that's it's a vast difference. It's a vast difference. And again, I enjoyed it. I understand if you don't. I will say, go see this in the theaters. I had so much fun at the movie because of the audience reacting to things.
Yeah, that's true.
And there are genuine horror moments, like edge of your seat, oh my God, what is going to happen moments. They build that tension just like the first movie did. So it is an exciting watch in the theater. Don't wait for this to come to you. But again, watch out for the scary movie parody coming out later. That's enough for the spoiler-free review of the movies that came out this weekend. Let's push it forward now. We have 2 movies coming out, F1 and Megan 2. Those are going to be our next 2 episodes, and we're going to leave you with a little touch, a little trivia portion of what is to come. Because when we talk about F1, we can talk about the cars and the sport all we want. Kellerman can make much more enemies than he already has, but instead, we're going to focus on the star of the movie, the man who's on the front of every poster. His name is Brad Pitt. You may have heard of him. And our trivia question is, out of these 5 Brad Pitt movies, which one made the most in the worldwide box office? A, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. B, Ocean's 12. C, 7. D, 12 Years a Slave. Or E, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Which one of those 5 Brad Pitt movies made the most at the worldwide box office? Alche, we will go to you first.
I'm going to go with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I believe Ocean's 12 was like a bit of a box office flop, but I could be totally wrong.
Ocean's 12 made the most money out of any Ocean's movie, and your guess is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Kellerman.
Yeah, I remember the opposite. I remember Ocean's 12 being huge.
Well, according to Tony, you are correct.
Once Upon a Time, also huge. There are also 2 Oscar winners on this list. I'm going to go with 12. Ocean's
12 or 12 Years a Slave?
Yeah, be specific.
I'm going to go with Ocean's 12.
It's
so
Benjamin
we have
Button, isn't it?
A, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and B, Ocean's 12. From last to first, these 5 movies, 12 Years a Slave came in last place, 180 million worldwide. 7, very close, but 4th place, 328 million worldwide for 7.
Wow.
Curious Case of Benjamin Button was 3rd place, 329 million worldwide. So you two, one of you is correct. The most money for these Brad Pitt movies is 377 million. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Ocean's 12 right behind it.
Oof,
Listen.
that's a close one.
I mean, that's impressive.
Exactly. Anything you want to take away, a little preview of tomorrow's video, anything you want to take away from that, Brad Pitt put butts in seats. Okay? Just want to throw that out there. Anything else you boys want to say about Elio in 28 days before we kick it forward to next week's episode?
I think both of these movies are utterly screwed over the next month. They are not making...
Yeah.
The drop-off for both of them is going to be so steep. F1 is taking all of 28 days. Elio is just going to fall into the mist somewhere because Lilo and Stitch is still a juggernaut. I hate to say it, but both these
excuse
movies
you.
are done.
How to Train Your Dragon is also a juggernaut. They won.
How to Train Your Dragon
last
still
weekend.
out there. We've got Smurfs coming out too.
These movies. No one's talking about these movies ever again.
Nothing this summer is going to have a long.
That's a good way to play it forward.
Superman.
When we do our predictions for F1 and Megan, keep that in mind. But that is coming tomorrow, and we'll see you then.